one thing which I like to touch on. But just before that, if there's one thing, I want to come back to the question of Saudi Arabia. I'm glad panelists have raised this issue or question of Saudi Arabia and its role and what it's trying to do to achieve all these goals. But just before that, I think we must remind ourselves, there are principles. Whether it's about political stability, political considerations, the economic considerations. If you look at Singapore, the way how we came out of nothing, no resources, just its own people, where sustainability, competitiveness, working with neighbors, difficult neighbors as they may be, but I think the principles are there. And we must understand the principles first before we can even talk about what I said just now about humanities. No? So the principles, let's be clear. The technology also, let's be clear. Where we can learn, where we can collaborate, whether it's cross-border or whether it's within the country, we must be clear what are the necessities. But let me come back to this point about Saudi Arabia. Whenever I travel in this region, I couldn't stop but feel that everyone is talking about Saudi Arabia now. Even people whom I've seen before, in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, we're seen as prime movers of change, prime movers of the kind of the models of development which we see now, even Qatar for that matter. But lately, when I travel, nobody stopped talking about Saudi Arabia and what it's trying to achieve now. I think it's worthy of us going to understand that first. Saudi Arabia, we always see normally as Makkah, Medina, the religious, the Islamic thing. But what Saudi Arabia is trying to do now in terms of digitalization, in terms of science and technology, in terms of bringing about change, I think is something worthy of closer scrutiny. And let's see how we can actually benefit from that process in the context of cross-border relations, in the context of digitalization, and in the context of the future world which we want to achieve starting today.